Welcome to the Kitsap Publishing Deep Dive podcast with myself, Jack Bennett, and Emily Waters. Join us as we explore books, current events, history, politics, health, and more. Let's dive in.
5 types of asset classes. Based on my observations, almost all financial education taught in school and college today seems to be very technical. I remember the classes I took in my MBA program, which was loaded with countless scientific studies and analyses of sophisticated financial vehicles. In my real-life experience, financial sophistication and success are much simpler than what we learn in school and from the media today. It starts with the question, does an asset make me richer today or not? In today's world, we study more the characteristics of financial products like currencies, stocks, funds, or bonds instead of learning how to create financial products. This book reveals we need to know how to create financial products. The most important term we need to know before we even start investing is the term asset class. This chapter will give an overview of the 5 major asset classes if you are not familiar with the term asset class. You might have learned about asset classes in the past, and you might own and manage assets already in different asset classes. There are only 5 major asset classes: securities, businesses, commodities, real estate, and the money market. So, if you like to diversify your portfolio, these are your choices. But there is one basic rule: before you invest in a particular asset class, make sure you know the asset class in and out. Many great investors are kings of their asset classes. For example, Leonard Norman Stern has been viewed as an expert in real estate since the 1970s. Warren Buffett has always been the king of stock markets. Matthew Simmons was king of commodities, and Steve Jobs is known as a business entrepreneur who made many companies like Apple Incorporated and Pixar ultra-successful companies. Most people only own securities and assets in the money market. These asset classes are mostly easy to understand and easy to trade. On the other hand, there are 2 asset classes, businesses and real estate, which are challenging to understand and challenging to buy and sell. Hence, not many people own businesses or real estate. However, holding companies and real estate assets can generate the most significant income. There is an inverse relationship between asset income and the number of people who invest in certain asset classes today. The higher the return, the fewer people invest in these assets. The reason is that asset classes with potential high income opportunities require much higher skill sets than asset classes that provide lower returns. Most financial advisors make the connection between high financial return and higher risk. They generally do not mention that the investor can eliminate almost all risk by increasing their knowledge about the asset. There are several seminars and classes you can visit for all 5 asset classes. By attending such workshops, you can find out if you like these assets and have a passion for them. An excellent way to find groups for each asset class is to use social media like meetup.com or online courses. But please remember, visiting these seminars will only be the entry point for you. Before you invest in an expensive asset, you need more skills and experience, which you can only gain from starting small. Buy a small condo for income. Park that money for a while in low-risk, low-return securities. Then, leave some of your income in the money market to have cash readily available when you have the opportunity to buy another real estate property or even a cash flow positive business. Money market. The money market consists of mainly savings accounts, checking accounts, foreign currency accounts, cash deposits, and cash. You don't need much experience and knowledge when you get into the money market. Hence, this market is by far the most common asset class. Almost everyone has a checking account at a bank. However, it is important to understand that assets in the money market are only a medium of exchange. As Jeff Neighbor from Neighbor's Financials says about paper money, notes are just some weird little papers with dead presidents on them, and people actually would rather work for real stuff that you can exchange these little papers for. Currency is not the real economy. The things you exchange paper money for are the real economy, which is one of the most important realizations any investor should have. Real assets are commodities and businesses that can produce income. The currency is not the value, the item being exchanged for cash is the value. While the entire money market can collapse, real assets will still be there. As an investor, you want to hold many tangible assets. Money market assets are useful to store wealth for a specific time until you find a lucrative hard investment. Securities. Securities are paper assets like stocks, bonds, ETFs, other funds, and certificates. Securities and money market assets are under the same umbrella term. Investors can exchange them for other paper assets or assets in other asset classes. Holdings in the money market and the security market are excellent assets for storing wealth. They represent an easy way to exchange value. Cash is king. Securities are riskier than money, but can provide a tremendous long-term financial return. If you only invest in the money and security market, your assets might not be diversified enough to create long-term wealth for generations. Today, most retirement assets consist entirely of investments in paper assets. In a later chapter, I will write more about retirement planning strategies. Businesses. Becoming a business owner today is easier than ever. And thanks to automation and software support, running a business does not require an armada of employees. A business owner is not a self-employed person. Being a business owner includes much more than just providing services in return for money. Having started 2 successful businesses from scratch, I have seen what it means to be a business owner. Most important, you need a business blueprint, which explains how a business can be scaled to any size. The blueprint also needs to show how to solve real problems for your customers. You might be the only employee of your business for a particular time. Still, the important thing is that you have a blueprint, a system that can generate income without you being involved later on, and that can be scaled to almost any size. That income can come from selling products or services, royalties from a book you wrote, or patents and trademarks you submitted. Real estate. Like businesses, real estate is also a tangible asset in the economy. When you buy a property, the first and foremost question you should ask yourself is if you plan for portfolio income or passive income from tenants. Will the property's rent income be a source of recurring revenue? Or do you expect the property to go up in value in a foreseeable time? Or do you intend to flip the property by remodeling it and selling it with a profit? Either way, you should educate yourself about the fundamentals of real estate. Real estate is a unique asset class, which has a lot of pitfalls. You have to consider many factors if you want to make an excellent real estate deal. You need to do a detailed cash flow analysis and determine the right leverage with bank loans, which I will explain later in the book. Even proper financing might not save you from a bad deal. You have to consider that not every bank will give you a loan for certain kinds of properties. You have to get knowledgeable about city planning and zoning changes in your county or city. Also, there are many opportunities to reduce your taxes through real estate. In my experience, you can make money in 4 areas in real estate: cash flow, appreciation, tax benefits, principal reductions. You will find more information about real estate investment in Chapter Asset Development. Before you decide to invest your time in real estate, and before you purchase your first property, you need to find out which type of real estate suits your investment style. All real estate types are very different and require very different skills. For example, think about what kinds of tenants you want to focus on: long-term tenants with families, students, or short-time renters like Airbnb customers, young or older individuals, or smaller companies requiring office space. Commodities. Commodities are the 5th asset class I describe in this book. They are not paper assets like securities or money market assets, and they are also not like real estate and businesses since they do not generate any income. Commodities are in between paper assets and tangible assets. On the one hand, they do not represent a value based on a financial product like all paper assets. On the other hand, they do not produce income like businesses and real estate. Commodities serve a different purpose. They primarily provide the investor with security. The value of a commodity will typically never go to zero, and can, in some cases, provide a source of physical safety for self-usage. When I talk about commodities for investing purposes, I do mean actual physical goods. The USA's most known commodity exchange markets are the NYMEX and COMEX, where investors and traders can exchange energy, precious metals, and industrial metals. Other exchange markets like the Memphis Cotton Exchange or the Minneapolis Grain Exchange specialize in agricultural products like wheat, barley, sugar, maize, cotton, cocoa, coffee, milk products, pork bellies, etc. Besides, many commodity investors buy physical instances of a commodity like gold or silver and store them in their safes. The advantage of owning physical commodities typically means better access to it when in need. Still, self-storage might not outweigh the disadvantage of higher storage costs, higher risks of being robbed, and more effort to trade them. To eliminate these disadvantages, you can check out new services that have emerged in the last few years, allowing companies and individual investors to trade digital tokens representing physical gold via blockchain transactions. You can always hire commodity brokers and asset management companies. These companies are specialized in trading commodities and often provide low-risk trades with high yields. The investment cycle. Level 5 and 6 investors play in all 5 asset classes. They might have their focus on one asset class. However, the advantage of using all asset classes is that the investor can benefit from all asset classes' characteristics. They are applying a two-bucket investment approach, which is a pretty simple concept. You create 2 virtual buckets in your portfolio, the paper assets bucket and the hard asset bucket. Now you take the paper asset bucket, which you have to fill up initially from your salary or any other income you might have, and pour it into the hard asset bucket. In other words, you buy real estate, start or buy businesses or commodities using your money in the bank, selling securities or bonds. Automatically, the money will flow back from your income-producing hard assets into the paper asset bucket, and you can pour the paper money again back into the hard asset bucket. The income from your hard assets, your real assets, will provide you with income in the form of money market assets, currency, money, which you can reinvest in hard assets. Robert Kiyosaki sums this simple cycle up as, I have a problem with too much money. I can't reinvest it fast enough, and because I reinvest it, more money comes in. Yes, the rich do get richer. If you are serious about building a real nest egg for your future, your retirement, or if you like to leave your children with real assets, you will have to think like a level 5 or level 6 investors and follow the 2-bucket investment approach as illustrated in the following figure. Receiving income from hard assets. A business is the most effective asset class in terms of income generation. It can generate that excessive amount of cash, which you need to invest in other assets. Even Warren Buffett, who initially made most of his money in the security market, is now heavily invested in businesses like the BNSF Railway Company. He owns and runs Berkshire Hathaway, with a market capitalization of over $500 billion and earnings of over $80 billion in 2018. Asset class asset type portfolio/passive typical income. Money market paper asset portfolio income capital gains, interest. Securities paper asset portfolio income capital gains, dividends. Commodities real asset portfolio income capital gains. Real estate real asset passive income rent income. Businesses real asset passive income net income from business operations and dividends. Figure 9.3 Overview of all 5 asset classes. Cryptocurrency. Should you invest in cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is a new phenomenon that started in 2009, with a groundbreaking development called blockchain. Bitcoin is one application of a vastly evolving blockchain technology and can be traded easily using smartphone apps or online services like blockchain.com. It is the most traded cryptocurrency today and has reached incredible gains since its inception in 2009. If you bought 1 Bitcoin in 2009, you would own over $10,000 if you sold that Bitcoin today. Of course, it is still speculative where the value of Bitcoin will go, but experts are excited about the entire blockchain development and have high hopes in a cryptocurrency that can increase trust between buyers and sellers. Cryptocurrencies are part of the asset class money market and will play a significant role in our economy. However, it is premature to rely only on the growth and availability of this new currency. Are art and collectibles assets? Art as an asset is much debated, and some might say they are also very risky. Someone I know calls art just broken things, as the artist used fresh paint and a nice white canvas to make both unusable. But if you have a passion for collectibles, art can be for you, and depending who owned the pieces of art in the past, it might cash out very well if needed. However, art and collectibles are very speculative. I am not recommending putting art into your asset portfolio until you have so much cash at hand that you can pay for a particular piece of art or a scarce collectible item with your petty cash. Are natural goods an asset class? In economically challenging times, natural goods like food items, items for your hygiene, or even seeds and fresh vegetables from your garden might become the biggest asset you own. When you plan your financial freedom, you should not underestimate the importance of natural goods if you lose all your financial assets. A stock and your supply of natural products can lower your expenses and help others in need. However, this book will not get more into natural goods as assets beyond this paragraph. A word about derivatives. Warren Buffett says, derivatives are financial weapons of mass destruction. And a statistic published by globalresearch.ca reports that derivatives were worth more than 20 times the world GDP in 2012. The basic idea of derivatives is to increase the leverage for the derivative issuer, who is a sophisticated investor. With every other financial asset than derivatives, you buy a share of the actual asset, like stock from a company. You own a particular share of that company. However, derivatives are financial instruments in the form of contracts, options, forward contracts, futures, etc., that allow investors to speculate on the future price of, for example, commodities or shares, without buying the underlying investment. So, why are derivatives so dangerous? Derivatives are legal contracts that are made between adults, and they are like WMDs, as Warren Buffett says. Since derivatives tend to amplify the power of underlying financial products and commodities, they can quickly derail a particular type of asset class or specific economic sectors. Even though derivatives are not part of the real economy, they can manipulate the financial system and destabilize it. This book does not cover derivatives in more detail, since derivatives tend to be investment vehicles for professional speculators who do not invest in passive income, but for capital gains only.
Thank you for listening to the Kitsap Publishing Deep Dive podcast. Emily Waters and I will see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.